Are you ready to take bold action and live a life of brilliance? Welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast, where women leaders share inspiring stories about daring decisions that shape their businesses, their lives, and their careers. Today, I'm with the fabulous and amazing Elle Ballard. Elle is a catalyst for transformation, igniting change in the lives of women across the world. She's a dynamic, holistic, abundance mentor, founder of the Women of the World Network, an accomplished author, and a captivating speaker who takes her clients on transformative journeys of personal growth and empowerment. A passionate advocate for abundance, elegance, and authentic self-expression, Elle finds beauty in coffee rituals, breathtaking views, and the artistry of ballroom dancing, always inspiring women to live fully and fabulously. As we talk, you'll hear Elle share her journey of entrepreneurship, including one bold decision that has created her path of what was next. Her story of resilience, risk-taking, and transformation will inspire, encourage, and support your personal and professional growth. Please join me in welcoming Elle to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. Elle, welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm so excited to have you as my guest.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracie. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. We were chatting as we were getting started, and I'm just so grateful. We connected, gosh, it's been 6 years probably now since we
It's been a
met.
while.
Since I
Wow.
joined
Yeah.
Women of the World Network, since I was
Yes.
setting up Gather, like all of these things that were happening pre-pandemic. It was all getting started. And here we are so many years later, still connected. And I'm such a fan. So I just am so excited
Thank
to have
you.
you be a part of the podcast, that I get to bring your story to everyone else. I had someone who we know mutually tell me how much they're enjoying checking out these episodes and interviews with people that they know also, and learning more about them as a result. So
I
hopefully
love it.
people who are listening here will go find some other episodes and other friends that maybe they need a refresher on their story too.
Yes.
Awesome.
How
Well,
exciting.
yeah, it's super
Congratulations.
fun. Thank you. I'm really excited to bring your story and your, bold decision making to this audience, because I've always been so enamored by your story of decision making, like how you've grown, how you grew up, and your stories coming to the States and changing jobs and building your own business and all of those things. And I know we're going to touch on a lot of those steps as we go. But for people who haven't had a chance to meet you yet, sad for them, glad they're here. Talk a little bit about how you got to where you are. Like not the whole story, but give us some origin story so people understand where you came from.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this for others. And I love leading with bold because I feel like there's so many bold decisions we make in life. And I know I have done them, and sometimes we forget how bold we were. So reminding, us and leading with that. So I love, love, love that. And this whole podcast theme. So I'm originally from USSR. I was born in USSR, which is now a country called Kazakhstan. Came here over 22 years ago, been living, I think 20, 23, 24 years now in the US, and had a small business back in my country, loved it in my early 20s. And it just
That business,
happened.
what was
It
that?
was it was connected to real estate, and it was at a time I was working full time, completely different industry. I was working in oil and gas, and the opportunity just fell in my lap. I tried it, and I loved just being able to exercise my decision making, just be creative in it, and so it kind of stuck with me that I wanted to be in business for myself. Several years later, moved to the US, and new country, one of the bold decisions. New country, new people, new language, new everything. Understanding what would the needs be here for the business and everything. Decided to go into my MBA in marketing, and then I worked in corporate environments and marketing at different software companies. I learned a lot. but still kind of had that, you know, desire to create something on my own. And then the company sold out. Our company got sold out, and I took it as a another kind of push for me. I
As
decided
a
to go
sign.
as a sign, right? The universe opens the door, and I went and started my own. And so in thinking, I still actually have a diary or the journal where I put all the things that I wanted to do, and oh, well, this will be cool. And so thinking, what would this look like? And that started. I was in direct sales, and then continued with Women of the World Network, which you mentioned, because of who I am, where I come from. And that's deeply resonated with my heart to be able to support women globally. And I'm just so thankful that we have been building this platform. I'm thankful for including yourself, for the women in our community. And we've published 4 multi-author books, have a podcast and everything. And it's a series of bold decisions one after another, right? To be able to push through and continue following what your
And you've
passion.
been, and since we've met, you've, developed that business and are moving more into something that's kind of more from your core into what you're
Yeah,
offering now. But before we do that, I want to make sure to talk about Women of the World Network enough to where people, because I refer people to you frequently, because I think that
thank you.
the model and the understanding of the women that are in that community is very special. I felt drawn to it because I wanted to expand my understanding of people from all around the world. Yet I'm just sitting here in California and not going anywhere exotic or interesting outside of, Silicon Valley. And I found it to be a way to really start to understand people that were from places other than where I have experience. So talk about how you support women in Women of the World. Just, I know we're going to move on from there, but I really want to make sure that gets anchored in this conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, and thank you for saying that. That's exactly the idea behind really connecting women from different cultures who come and decide this one day that they want to build a business. They come together, but they all want to build business. They all have this unique, beautiful qualities that they bring to the table. And it's so much easier done when we are doing it together with a supportive, in the supportive environment, supporting each other. So Women of the World Network, community for multinational women in business. We have women, I think about 25 countries represented, meaning women originally from different countries living in the US, building businesses here and learning about them. And it's just a never ending learning and uplifting one another. And we have accountability now in place, very structured, where we help support each other with these goals. We kind of report to each other every week what we're working on, where we are, and it's a great supportive community for women in business who want to have a sisterhood where they can come and network and speak. We give women voices through our books, through our podcast, through our networking events. We have monthly online networking events. And now we used to have chapters before the pandemic. We had about 10 chapters before pandemic. And then we moved to fully online now, but we do have in-person gatherings. So this year we actually have 3 of them. We had one in California in March where you participated. We had one in Hawaii in May, and then we are having next one is in Texas, Houston, Texas in October. And so next year we're planning to do the same thing. So sort of 3 locations right now where we gather for the full day. So we come together one full day, networking, speaking, dancing, tasty lunch, and just enjoying each other company.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are available in the community. And of course, we help support those members promoting their projects, their initiatives as well.
Yeah, I love that. And you're right. I was there in
Thank
March, very
you.
happy to have got to be a part of that and to reconnect with women who I had met online, but got to meet in person. And you have some people travel in. And of course, with 3 different locations, people are going to go to the one that's closest to them, which helps them build their community. But also people were traveling outside of their area as well, which is fascinating to see who shows up and who comes from where,
Yeah.
and because of the diversity that you attract, the kinds of businesses and the way people show up is very, it's very inspiring, because a lot of people, their English might not be their first language, so and
Yeah.
the person's language in the room might not be their first language too, so there's a lot of, we're all there to understand, right? And
Yeah.
regardless of what obstacles there might be, we're here to break down those obstacles and to overcome them, to get to know each other, to get to celebrate each other. And I just think it's a beautiful situation. And I'm, like I said,
Thank you.
I think it's so wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and one of the things you talked about in March was really talking about you, and not the community that you built, but the work that's kind of coming from your soul now and out, right? You built the big picture of who your support structure too around you, and the people that you attract and who you're connected to. But now you're taking this kind of real core self of yours and sharing that with the world. So talk about Free, Fulfilled, and Fabulous, and your decision, that bold decision to be like, I already created this community, but I need to do something that's going to fuel my soul and
Right.
share that with the world.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
I love the way you put it. Thank you, Tracy. And yes,
Well, because
how
I see it. I mean, I
yeah,
see you, my friend. I get
right,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, no, thank you. And I love how you put the bold, the whole theme for this podcast. And that's another bold decision for sure, and so if we talked about bold decisions, the when we want something, I always believe, and I always say, when we want something, that something is just not, it's not a mistake, it's not a just somebody said something, it's
Yeah.
something we need to pay attention to, because if we follow that, that will help us take a bold action towards
Yeah.
it, right? And so the Women of the World Network, we opened, and we still have it, of course, and everything. But while building this over the years, and meeting all these beautiful women all over the world, and seeing them grow and thrive, I've also grown myself, of course, and I've been growing and digging deeper into myself. And as a so I have been a dancer before, and then I've just went back to dancing, and the whole embodiment, the embodied learning,
Mm.
as I became to understand it,
Yeah.
is really was the beginning of what this whole idea of Free, Fulfilled, and Fabulous. And so now I really want to go deeper to provide, to give women this platform. It's really about lifestyle. So we still building the business here, we still have the business, kind of the networking and all of this, but I feel like what's missing is the other part of it, which is where the lifestyle comes in, with the joy, the sisterhood, the expanded lifestyle, if you would, because typically we don't have time to speak about what's going on in our lives at the typical business networking meeting, which is understandably, of course. And so I wanted to create this another platform which incorporates my passion for embodied learning,
Mhm.
and that's how this concept was born. So yeah, so launching the another bold decision, stepping into my passion, who I truly am. And I've realized, I've been dancing over the years, and that's where it's just so interesting how that brings you back into,
Mhm.
who I am, who you are at the core, at
Yeah.
my core, and how can that be now brought into light, and how can I use that to build a deeper connection, this conceptualize and everything. So it's been an interesting journey, and it still is, but I'm excited to be able to bring it to life now in the form of a club, Free, Fulfilled, and Fabulous, where we do the embodied learning. And then that will also follow, it's followed by the inner circle that we are bringing, along with the retreats, international retreats as
Yeah.
well. So very
Okay.
exciting.
So I want to talk about this phrase, embodied learning, because I think this is something that, if you're in the world that talks about embodying things and somatics and the things that happen when you are paying attention to the way your body's
Mhm.
reacting or acting. The people who are in that world get it, and the people who aren't kind of don't, but
Yeah.
maybe are curious. And I was one of those people. I remember, gosh, before we met, probably, but not long before, I was on one of Katerina's cruises. Katerina Rando, she's got an episode, go listen to her. I met someone and like her thing was a somatic something. And I'm like, I don't even really know what that means. What is that? And it's, oh, it's the understanding of how the body and reacts and there's a lot more understanding of it now, but I think that when people are able to feel what they're experiencing instead of just think about what they're experiencing and understand those feelings, then they're way more likely to allow them to guide them, right? Like the
Right.
right, like
Mhm.
the embodied learning, the idea of like there's what's that book, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is related
Yeah.
to like
Mhm.
trauma and all of those things, but the whole idea of like your body is there, it's not just this thing that you eat and digest and sleep and
Mhm.
it it's it's a it is you, right? It's not your brain
Yeah.
versus your body. It's all one connection, in the brain body connection and the gut and all of those different things are also connected. To allow yourself to say, I feel this in my body, so I know it's right. Or I
Yeah.
feel this in my body, so I'm going to follow it, whatever it is. I may not know it's right yet, but if it's here, I'm going
Mhm.
to see what happens going
Mhm.
forward with it. And
Mhm.
those of us who are able to recognize that, or when we're able to, because no one's perfect anyway, when we're able to recognize that, it's that, yeah, it's in you for a reason. It's supposed to be there. It's part of you. So let
Yeah.
it show up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so when I was thinking about bringing this new concept, and if free, fulfilled, and fabulous, by the way, freedom is where we talk about the mental things that stop us, the blocks, the upbringing. There's a lot
Mhm,
in the upbringing, right? A lot of the
mhm,
answers are in the childhood, right? If we and then of course the creating the monetary on the outside. When I talk about fulfillment, is a lot about following your dharma, like being in which you're supposed to be, because we can do like we can do so many things. There's so
yep,
many things, and I'm love that we're living in this time where we are, blessed to have so many opportunities.
mhm,
But really, at the end of the day, what is it that really is for me to do? Who it is that I am to bring it. And so the fulfillment, the joy that it brings me. And then and the fabulous part, of course, it's all about the energy, the voice, the showing up. Yeah. The claiming that spotlight. And I love to add vitality and longevity. Longevity field is a long term of passion of mine as well. So I incorporate all of that. So when I was putting it together, in theory it's all great and we can study the theory, we can learn the material, but what takes it one step further is when we actually embody and dance it. And I use dance just because being a dancer, and dance is something that talks to me. I talk to it.
yeah,
If something these days, if I'm working on something, if I'm working on a project, or I need to strategize, I actually dance it out to receive answers. Our body has so much wisdom, and so when we move the body, when we like in that space of receiving answers from within versus from the outside, that's where it's really powerful. And that's what I mean by embodied learning, where it's a frequency of that being that really helps move the needle forward. And that's what I've realized. For me to move forward, I need to really step away and just,
listen.
you know, yeah, and dance it out. Like I dance when I'm sad, I dance when it's really just helping emotions move through the body. When I'm happy, I
Mhm,
dance. When I'm
mhm.
joy, I mean, but I cannot not help smile when I have time on my body. So yeah, so it's really just, yeah, because there's a lot, we keep a lot energetically, and
Yeah.
so that's where that is.
I love that. And you said something about like the outside versus, what's in you. And so I was thinking about, I've got this bold momentum summit coming up. It's long over by the time this gets out, but it's tomorrow. And so it's a lot on my mind. And the idea of motivation from the outside or inspiration from the outside versus what's coming from the inside. And like you said,
Mhm.
by allowing your body to show up for you, right? And whatever makes you
Exactly.
feel good gives you
Yeah.
that internal motivation, internal magic that can come
Mhm.
out and it's so much more natural and easy and it just flows as opposed to trying to take the shoulds and the
Exactly. The
comparisons and
shoulds. That's
everything from
it.
the
Hmm.
outside and try to do
Yeah.
because that's what
Yeah.
you heard or felt or
Exactly. Yeah, because then that leads to burnout, and we spinning the wheel, but we're just not getting there.
right.
Yeah, and yeah, and there are so many, of course, great tips and information that coming at us these days, especially. So just being able to really, what's mine here,
What's
and leading with that. I think that's just so, so important. And that's and this has been actually reflected on my experience, my own experience. And that's how I came to do this, because that's what I've experienced myself. And
Mhm.
that's why I say, if I need an answer, I dance it out. And so and that's how this concept was born. And yeah, and so I'm excited to bring that, and bringing it deeper in the community, and adding this as a layer for those who are ready to move to this as a layer, and going deeper, in addition to building businesses, but also just going within and building ourselves
Yeah.
now too, and giving back
Well, and
to
like you
us.
said, what's for you, right? The
Yeah.
only way you can know what's really for you is to know it. And you know
Yeah.
things by listening to your own thoughts, not external thoughts, listening to your own kind of gut feeling or, what feels right. Your
Yeah.
intuition,
Hmm.
everything's all connected. When you know it's for you, then you are glad to move forward and you have ambition and you have motivation and you have
Exactly.
what you need and
Yeah.
and so I love that you're bringing that to especially women entrepreneurs who there's so much action to-do list, make it happen, grind grind
Yes.
grind, which
Yeah.
is a lot from our past, from the 90s and then,
Exactly.
from our corporate
Yeah.
lives and all of that. And as we move into what we want for ourselves, to be able to
Hmm.
listen to that and really tune into it and use it as the tool that we just are, not that we got or
Right.
heard, right? We are
Yeah.
that tool and that understanding to go forward. I love it.
Exactly.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And to bring that to people who maybe are like I was those 7 years ago, where I just didn't really get how what you meant, right? You got to keep talking about it because eventually it makes sense and you
Yeah.
can't, and you don't want to ever stop because now it makes
Yeah.
sense and we got to keep going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where so you mentioned your program, your live
Mhm.
events, the retreats, the international retreats, your books, all of these different things. Where do people usually kind of get started with you? Like if someone's listening to this and they're like, Elle sounds really awesome and I have no idea what I should do first, or what's there for me from a opportunity to get going with her. What should we tell them?
Yeah, depending on the needs, ellballard.com. I have everything on the
Yeah.
website there. Yeah, and the FFF, the club that's coming up October 1st, is there as well. And then our upcoming retreat in Bali. We are doing
Bali,
Bali. Yeah, we're doing Bali September 26th. And
September in
and
2026.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. September, yes, thank you. Yes, September 2026. Yes, not this September. And yeah, so we bring in the whole concept of that. It's about and the way I love international. We've talked about cultures, of course, learning cultures. That's I love cultures, traditions, languages, and so. But in addition to, if we are moving as women entrepreneurs, if we're moving toward the next level, it always helps to kind of disconnect and get into a new environment. And that's where the international retreat, that's what they bring, where we step away, and that's just providing the space for this growth, for the next, and the
Right.
clarity
And what I love about it being an international retreat, because I have this exact same philosophy about my retreats, but mine are local, domestic. But
yeah.
what I love about it expanding even further is you bring your international flavor by going somewhere else. Not that you're from Bali in any way, but it's a whole different perspective to go somewhere where people are different. They speak a different language. They look different. Their cultural icons are different, and the roads, everything's different. The roads, the trees, everything that you experience from the moment you're there it's expansive to get a chance to
Exactly.
be somewhere that's a totally new experience with a guide for safety, right? So you're not going there dropped in the middle of a jungle.
No. Yeah, exactly.
About
Yeah.
anything, but you have that safety net to be able to say, I don't know anything about this, but I would love to learn. And the more we are open to learning, the more we're open to everything. So I think that's really great. So September 2026 for Bali. You mentioned that FFF's going to start, I think you said October, which this
October
episode will
1st.
probably just be coming out or before that. So there's still time for that. And, there's always Women of the World stuff happening too. And of course, we're, just connect. You mentioned your website. Of course, that'll all be in the show notes. I know that you are active on social media. People can follow you there as well and find you there. And, one of the things I know about those of us like you and me who create communities and work with women entrepreneurs is it's all about the conversation and getting started, understanding each other in relationships. So if you're curious about Elle, I want you to reach out and see if you guys
Yes, be happy to.
get to know
Yes.
each other, because that's the beginning of all of these great relationships. That's the beginning of Elle and I being connected. The beginning of you out
exactly.
there listening to my podcast, and it's the beginning of you now maybe getting to know Elle and learning about what she has too. So my darling, I'm so glad that you could be here with
Thank
me.
you.
Yes,
Thank
it's my
you.
pleasure. And yeah, we had already talked about what's coming up, so there's no what else is coming up, but do you have like a wrap it up in a bow, final thought you want to leave for people?
Yeah, I think it's important in the business of today to really find a moment of stillness. And I treasure these moments these days because I get a lot of insightful information that I've learned to, like you mentioned, it used to be like being in sales before. I used to go, 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 go. But I feel this next level requires us to be able to find, that alignment in stillness. And if anything comes up, just pay attention to that, because there will be information coming up. And if we just, we see it, we do the breath work, we meditate, and then we jump in and go do the same thing that we've done before, it's not going to help. But if we pay attention to what, and note to what we received, and follow up on that, there is something there, I'm sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
And
absolutely agree.
and thank you for having me today.
Of
Always
course.
great to talk to
Yes.
you,
Yes,
my
my
friend.
pleasure. And I'm so glad. Thank you for being on the Bold and Brilliant podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm your host, Tracie Root, and I want to invite you to check out the show notes, find out where you can connect with our guests, find out more about what I and the Gather community have to offer you, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Thanks so much.